If I were to give a reason why Project Upland became a thing, I would have to say it's because of conservation. Questionably one of the most important hunting conservation issues of our lifetime. If you think about that, and think that your children or your grandchildren might never build a personal history with this iconic bird, it makes you understand a little deeper why Project Upland.
Project Upland is, I think it's a new look at upland hunting that might tell a different story than what people originally imagined upland bird hunting to be like, and I think it's a great way to expose people to, I guess maybe a truer reality of upland hunting.
Project Upland was a real opportunity to get people excited about grouse hunting, which I think is the first most important step to saving grouse habitat, to creating woodcock habitat. It's to get people excited about hunting them, you know? Hunting an animal saves an animal.
Let's go!
One of the most entertaining parts of, when I filmed Searching, which Searching is kind of where Project Upland started. It was a project that was done well before the rest of Project Upland, and it was first when I really, some people thought I went off the deep end. Going from big buck hunting to going to fanatical grouse hunting overnight.
The Northwoods of New England, a place distant from my stomping grounds of Boston, Mass. Why hang up my bow and cast away something so passionate? I'm searching for a different hunt, the hunt we often do not know we are on. Deep in the hunting camps of my ancestors.
I went up there during the peak of rifle season for deer. And anybody in any culture, I don't care if it's northern New Hampshire or Maine or Minnesota or wherever, or Pennsylvania, when peak gun season's there for deer hunting, everybody is deer hunting. So I show up in this place, with a double barrel 12 gauge shotgun and just start tearing up this mountain and, cranking rounds, shooting at all these grouse. And probably, to this day, probably one of my best memories of grouse hunting. And I didn't really film that day, but it was the ongoing joke of all the locals up there that knew me. They started calling it the Battle of Squeeze Hole Brook because I shot so many rounds and everybody thought I was a deer hunter. So, hearing these rounds echo across the mountains and all these guys are deer hunting, they're like, man, all the deer got to be over here. And sure enough, it's just, this Flatlander Bostonian cranking 12 gauge rounds trying to shoot these partridge, instead of deer hunting.
I met AJ actually via email. I was working in Montana this past summer, and on Facebook I saw a Facebook post from Hunter Green, followed it back to the originator, which was Dangerous Cow Publishing, and there's an info, contact us page. And I reached out, we talked on the phone for probably 2 hours, had a great conversation, and he was like, well, welcome to the team. So we started working together, and we had been talking. I'd written some stuff, and passed some photographs along his way. And he's like, hey, we're going to shoot this video with the Ruffed Grouse Society in October, can you make it? And I was like, well, I'll talk to my professors, but I think we can swing it. So, you know, I told my professors, they're like, oh, it sounds really cool. This would be a great opportunity for you. Took off, you know, so I drove up probably 6 or 7 hours, and, you know, he drove from Boston, and we had talked on the phone, and it was like the first time we had met, and, you know, we're in the lobby, and it's just like this elfish little, like, 5'6" man, you know, covered in tattoos. It was just, you know, he's got this thick Boston accent, you know, and then to be there with our editor Kyle, you know, he's got this thick Jersey accent, so it's just like this interesting, you know, conglomeration of people of Boston, New Jersey, Pennsylvania.
One thing I'll say about working with Paul Kemper is make sure you have a lot of whole milk. I never thought that whole milk would actually be a legitimate expense on a dangerous cow expense report, but it is, because man, does that kid drink milk. So Trip ended up being a great guy. Trip I now consider a dear friend, just unbelievably passionate about grouse hunting, passionate about sending that message to other people, which for a person in his position, the RGS couldn't ask for anybody better. He is excited about bringing people into the sport, and he was excited about this project, and Trip was kind of a cornerstone of this whole project. Like, he was the heartbeat behind it. He was the one that really pushed to get this organized and together, and to get us out in places and to force it along, and it was great. It was well worth it.
Trip Way, I mean, what an awesome dude. I met him in the lobby of the hotel. We get in, he just shakes my hand. He's like, you guys need anything, you let me know. You know, he was just so welcome. He was so excited. You know, you could tell that he was excited to, you know, to have this project in front of him and kind of see it unfolding and the potential it had and what we could do. You could just tell he's passionate about grouse and he's passionate about conservation. Just hearing him talk about, you know, after hours, you know, we're sitting in the lobby just, you know, having a beer or whatever and just talking about different aspects of conservation, the organization. I mean, this guy cares. You know, he really cares about it, and it's great to be behind someone who has that kind of passion for something. You know, it's you can work with anyone, you know, but I mean, this guy like means business. He's serious about it, and I think it's going to help, you know, take that level of conservation, you know, to the next level.
And they're wild birds, you know, in an era of instant satisfaction where a guy can go down to a preserve and he can put out 30 pheasants and he can, you know, shoot 25 of them with his dog. You know, because they're wild birds. You know, I think that makes the appeal even sweeter. Put the time in and you'll be rewarded. But you know, that's the appeal to me. And I'd like to show that to other people. I'd like to have other people see that, and I think once they get it and they put the time in, they see how rewarding that is, then I think that it's for them.
I might cry at this point in the interview. I mean, holy, Harry Rao. Oh man, like, it's almost like I got a man crush on him. Harry's the coolest dude I may have ever met. Like, Dos Equis needs a rebranding because Harry Rao is the most interesting man in the world.
And now we started scheming about making a film about Harry. It started with kind of so how do you feel about being in a grouse hunting film to next thing you know, we're filming a grouse hunting film about Harry.
So how's your season been going so far?
Well, we came up Columbus Day weekend, and I got a 3 woodcock and 1 grouse, and the other guys got some woodcock as well. There was a lot more leaves up here at that point,
Right,
so we weren't getting like really good looks at the grouse, and the woodcock numbers weren't as numerous as usual. But even this morning, the birds that we saw down there were you know, better numbers, and I think hopefully we're gonna get some birds up through here too.
I got to hunt with Harry a couple times. Me and Harry went out and we hunted for a full day together, and we crushed woodcock that day.
Got him.
I also shot the first pheasant that I've seen, never mind shot, in probably since I was like 12 years old. So that was cool. I went out in those woods that day really trying to dissect Harry or get Harry to open up, and he dropped some lines. Like, this guy's not trying. Like, this is coming from his heart, and he dropped some lines that you're literally, you're walking through these covers and you're like freezing up, like what did that guy just say? And now you're trying to make a mental note because you're like, man, I don't have a camera running. You know, I gotta get him to say that again somehow without telling him I need to say that, because you want it to be natural. You want it to really come from his heart. And Harry, it came from his heart.
On that last note of, you know, how great a particular day was in the field and writing about that particular day, but framing it in the sense that, you know, it's great if we are lucky enough to have another day in the woods, but if we didn't, at least we had today. It was pretty amazing.
Film just happened again, and I think that's good journalism, good writing. You know, when you go into this filming, you're writing with a camera. You know, you're not. You know, that's what you're doing. You're translating a story. You know, and a camera just happens to be your medium.
You know, we pack up all of our gear. You know, we've been running. I mean, just running, like nonstop, filming, you know, one thing to the next, like almost not enough time to think. It was just like go, 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 go. So we book it, we get back to Boston, pick up some more gear, pack the truck again, and then we head up to New Hampshire. We're meeting Will Bradley, and Will's such a great dude. I mean, one of the most quality people you'll ever meet. Just awesome guy, hard-working guy, and he's hilarious. And you know, just a pleasure to have in camp. I mean,
That's the funny thing about hunting. You never get to do any shooting.
Talking to Will, he told me that he started hunting like maybe back in 2011. He was getting bored in the fall, had some small exposure to upland bird hunting, and then now all of a sudden, you know, he's got a podcast and he's hardcore into hunting.
In partridge country, and kind of the ongoing joke is partridge, or partridge is a New England thing, grouse is the rest of the country, and just partridge culture is completely different altogether. It was a cool chance to get up there and see these guys grouse hunt, and now you have 3 guys with us. So you got Paul, Kyle, and Will, who have all never shot grouse before.
Definitely spend more time upland bird hunting in the future. I would love to come back to these mountains with these people and experience this again. There's something about hunting birds on your own that I think once it gets in the blood, it stays there.
Make a long story short, 20 minutes of beating the brush, we come back around and we're walking back out in this logging road, and the truck's 200 yards up the road. And here we are, we're trekking, and Paul's on my left, and I got the camera, and Paul's got my over and under shotgun, and all of a sudden just, you hear the flush, and just, I remember turning and looking, and here is this perfect, picturesque sun glare as this grouse tips his wings into it and comes right across, and here's Paul, and I see him, lining his gun up and bringing his gun up, and I'm like, oh my God, this is the most perfect, picture ever, video run of everything, and boom, he crushes this bird, hits it first round, this bird, dumps into the ground, and sure enough, I wasn't running the camera. but probably single-handedly seared into my brain as the biggest memory of Project Upland, because he was amped up. I mean, you thought this guy just shot a 165-inch buck. So that was a moment in Partridge Country. That's why we were there.
The most difficult part of trying to film a grouse hunt is filming a grouse. Grouse are just, man, it is a different ballgame. I've filmed turkeys before, I've filmed deer, I've taken a decent amount of wildlife photography and just been in the woods. You get close to animals, man, but a grouse, you have no idea that it's there until it's too late and it's taken off. And especially when you're not hunting with a dog, when you're by yourself just beating the brush, it could happen at any second. At least with a pointing dog, it can get set up, you can get in position and try and capture that, but you're thinking that you're shooting with a wide angle lens and essentially you're always rolling. You can't have your camera, turn it on and get the shot. It's literally, you are in the moment, you are living that day from behind the camera through the lens, because there's no setting it up. It's just, it always has to be rolling, and that was the toughest part. We were constantly changing out batteries, playing with the focus and the aperture to make sure we could get it and still look, visually pleasing. It was tough, man.
We're coming into just about where I saw that grouse go down.
Yeah, I mean, I've actually been working on my tricep and hamstring strength so I can actually get on all fours and sneak into some tighter cover to bust up birds for Will. But yeah, I think I could be a pretty good bird dog. I'd be a GSP if I could be one.
Next thing you know, here we are full blown into filming, Project Upland, which at that time I don't even think was called Project Upland. And this was, we were fumbling our way through this essentially at this point, and there it goes. We woke up that morning, hit record, and started going.